And we are back one more time for another episode of
The Horror Guys. Yay!
That's us. I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And we're the Horror Guys.
We're going to talk about some horror movies, aren't we?
4 movies in a short, as always.
This is a very new week. Lots of new stuff. So we're not going to be heavily spoiler here. We're going to, of course, as always, the full spoilery synopsis is available on our website and the newsletter.
HorrorGuys.com
We'll
and
just kind of
HorrorBulletin.com.
We'll give you a little bit of a teaser here on the new stuff mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do we got?
Well, we have a new one called Unwelcome.
Well, you're very unwelcome.
You are unwelcome here, yeah. And a documentary, the Dogman Triangle, Werewolves in the Lone Star State. And we got a short that's also a new one. And we have, there was a 2020 film, Becky, that's kind of a revenge kind of action thriller, but it does have some horror elements.
It's got the gore.
And then this year they made a sequel called The Wrath of Becky,
which has a lot more gore.
And we're going to talk about them. And then over in our bonus section, we're not going to talk about them very much here, but we got Malum, which was a creepy thriller from 2023, brand new. And that was actually a remake of a previous version. So, that's kind of an interesting take.
Final Shift or Last Shift or something like that.
Last Shift,
Okay.
Basically the same guy remade his own movie.
Why? Was it a foreign movie the first time?
No.
They do that sometimes.
No. I guess he just wasn't satisfied the first time around.
I wasn't satisfied the second time around.
Well, it's questionable.
It wasn't great.
Yeah. And then we got one of the Hellraiser series, Hellraiser Bloodline, which was 1996, the fourth film. And a lot of folks say that was the last good one, that they go downhill rapidly after that. But we thought Bloodline was a decent one. Heavily sci-fi. There's a sci-fi element to it.
Well, it starts and ends in the future on a spaceship.
Right.
But most of it takes place in the past.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird.
We find the origin of the box, where the box came from, or who the first person that physically made one.
I see them all the time on Facebook.
Careful. Yeah.
Okay, so read all the spoilers up for everything at HorrorGuys.com. If you're not signed up for our weekly newsletter, go to HorrorBulletin.com and sign up there and get all 7 of our reviews every week in your mailbox.
Every week, yeah.
And if you prefer to read them on your Kindle or read them on paper, you can go to HorrorGuysShop.com and pick up the Horror Bulletin Monthly, which has 30, 31, however many we do in a month, all the reviews in it.
Uh-huh.
And they're not expensive.
No, quite reasonable.
Nothing better than paperback.
Yeah.
I've got them all.
Well, yeah.
All right. But even if we're issue 20, I think we're up to issue 23 now. We'll be out next week. Mm-hmm. And they're all available as backorder. If you want to go all the way back to issue 1, you can.
And you get to find out what our favorites and least favorites of the month were.
Yeah. We've got episodes on there like 30 Days of Christmas Horror Movies.
Some of them are themed, yeah.
One of them had Shark Week in it.
One of them had an 80s week. And, there's various themes
Various
from
themes
time to time.
all throughout those, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but this time we're going to talk Werewolves of Texas.
Uh-huh. No. Or are they?
Are they, yeah. The Dogman Triangle, Werewolves in the Lone Star State from 2023, directed by Seth Breedlove. And we did a Bigfoot documentary on him, I don't know, about a year ago, maybe 6 months, not that long ago.
Yeah, he's into the cryptids, does documentary work and books and online YouTube videos about them. And,
if you saw that one and liked it, this is kind of the same thing, only with Dogman.
Uh-huh. Stars
Aaron Dees and Shannon Legro. Hour and 10 minutes. There's a trailer on YouTube if you haven't seen it or heard about it. It's new. I think it's just releasing this month. Spoiler free. What happens?
Well, there's not much spoilers because it's a documentary. There's not really a plot. But this was a well-made documentary that blends animations, history, and unfortunately scant evidence.
You are such a skeptic.
Well, right there, there wasn't much evidence. But interviews with people who talk about the sightings they have had, and they are convinced they saw something, and we are left to ponder it. And I thought the filmmakers did a decent job of neutrality. They didn't hammer it, too hard either way, that these are real, these are not real. They did kind of leave it up to us, they've kind of presented, here's the case. I thought it was fairly neutral.
The people they interview are all always very real.
They
didn't interview a lot of skeptics.
The people they interviewed were not neutral. No, they were believers. Yeah.
All right, well, we begin with an old-timey ad for travel to Texas, but it warns us to watch out for coyotes and other predators in the wild. The credits roll, telling us the Dogman may try to lure you into the woods with the voice of someone you know. They are only known to prey on humans and should be avoided at all costs. I don't think they ever mentioned that whole thing about luring someone with your voice of someone you know. I don't think that ever came up again.
I don't think it did, no. That was just the intro. And also, as far as only preying on humans, they go into sheep attacks and, unexplained animal attacks, too.
So the legend is obviously not too strict.
The legend varies, yeah.
Well, we then open on Aaron Dees, who recently wrote a book on Dogman, as he introduces Shannon, the interviewer for the film. Aaron's the expert, and Shannon is the journalist. Aaron explains that he started out investigating 3 encounters that laid out a big triangle that covers a big chunk of Texas. That would be the Texas Triangle.
The Texas Triangle. Yeah.
We then cut to various cryptid hunters who talk about their origins, mostly talking about getting started with Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, but this leads us right into werewolves, or the local variety called the Dogman. And I didn't know it till we moved to Michigan, but there's a Michigan Dogman, too.
There is, yeah.
That's one of the big things Michigan is famous for.
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen one.
And also more locally, there's a big cat creature that is, and I forget what they call it, but there's been sightings of a,
Catman?
Well, sometimes it has been bipedal, but, there's also speculation that it's a wild, somehow a large feline is loose in the wild.
Don't know about that one.
Yeah, I've heard of that one, too.
Well, the people on screen describe various types of Dogman. Some are very man-like, and some are more like big dogs, just like werewolves in the movies. Mm-hmm. Some are wolfmen, some are dogs.
Yeah.
Then various people describe their encounters with the strange beast. We see actual newspaper clippings about monsters eating sheep and things. How much is true, and how much is just sensational reporting? Could it be a hyena? Coyote? A bear with mange? A shapeshifter?
They propose all these possibilities.
Yeah, discuss all this stuff.
And I think there was one point where there was a really bad, far distant photograph where you couldn't really tell much. But one thing I did note, one of the things, supposedly somebody, has sightings, weekly, or even more often.
Yeah. Well, where's the pictures of this?
Why aren't they? Why don't they have pictures?
Oh, he comes around like every week.
Cameras are, real cheap and easy and available now. Smartphones and
wildlife cameras, even.
Wildlife cameras, and
yeah.
That was one note. I what? Wait a minute. If you're seeing them that often,
if you saw it once in the '70s, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
But if it comes back every week to your house, pictures.
Yeah.
Well, the film alternates between fairly normal interview shots and scary drawings of the Dogman. Naturally, we don't really see a Dogman at any point, but there are reenactments and some very cool animations.
Yeah, they really do good work with them.
Uh-huh. For something that you can't take a picture of, there's a lot to see in this.
It's engaging, yeah.
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 There are shots of regular nature scenes that have been aged to make them look creepier and set the mood, which is also fun. It's maybe a little longer than it needed to be, but overall, it's a well-made discussion of sightings, legends, and theories about this probably mythical creature.
Yeah, you should check out this.
Yeah.
And their other work, too.
Yeah, they got a whole string of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
Unwelcome from 2023, which is
thank you.
It's an Irish sort of film, which was directed by John Wright, written by Mark Stay and John Wright. Stars Hannah John Caron, Douglas Booth, Colm Meaney, and Christian Niem.
Nairn.
Name?
Hodor.
Nairn.
Hodor.
Oh, okay. Hodor. The runtime was 1 hour and 44 minutes, and there's a trailer on YouTube. And spoiler-free?
Yeah, what happens?
Well, this was a good one that didn't exactly go where we expected things to go.
Nope.
The practical effects really sold this, and overall, we thought it was very entertaining.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer, it looks like, it looks very predictable. You've got a pretty good idea where it's going to go.
It's not quite as predictable as the trailer makes you think.
It's not that, no.
Yeah.
Maya and Jamie are, again, we're not going to spoil the new ones. We're just going a little bit into it.
A little teaser here.
Maya and Jamie are trying to get a baby. The test is positive, which pleases them both. He goes off to buy some non-alcoholic champagne at the corner store, and a gang outside chases him. They follow him home and beat him up while she hides in the bathroom. But then they break into the bathroom and assault her as well. Credits roll. Oh, it's going to be a cheerful movie, isn't it?
Yeah, not a happy start.
Well, then we open on a dead woman outside a little countryside house as the police check out her body. Someone watches them from behind a rock. That turned out to be Jamie's Irish Aunt Maeve that just died, and she left him the house, which pleases him and Maya. They can move out of their tiny apartment in the stressful and dangerous city. Well, the woman who shows them the house, who's also confusingly named Maeve, says there's one more thing they need to know about the place. There's an old stone door at the back of the property. Every evening before the sunset, old Maeve would leave a blood offering here. Just a plate of meat will suffice to satisfy the little people. Oh, no, they're not leprechauns. They're redcaps. But Maya thinks it's cute and agrees to keep up the tradition. Well, they've got this big hole in their bedroom, Ruff. This place is kind of falling apart.
It's got some issues, yeah.
But they fully furnish the room anyway.
Yeah, they're laying in bed, looking up at the hole through the ceiling.
The bed with sheets and a comforter
like they
and
can
pillows.
see the sky.
Does it never rain in Ireland?
Well,
pretty sure it does.
And later he talks about the rainy season, coming, and it's going to be real wet. So they need to get that hole fixed.
Did you wet the bed, or did it rain again?
So the aunt was living like this for ages.
Well, she may have lived downstairs.
Well, but that's a way to ruin a house. Let the rain come in.
Yeah. Well, they do finally find an available handyman. Everyone else is booked up, and his name is Owen Whelan. The villagers are all friendly and very welcoming, and Rory, the town drunk, warns Jamie never to leave Maya alone with the Whelans. On the way home, he runs into something bad.
Mm-hmm. And we don't see what it is.
Maeve asks what they left out for the Redcaps, and Maya admits that she forgot. Maeve volunteers to do it, but Maya doesn't want the old woman walking all over their property, especially at night. Maeve says she saw one of the Redcaps once, and they are terrifying. Feeding them is essential. And Maya promises to follow through.
Appeasing the little people.
Yeah. I think we'll stop there.
Yeah, we probably should.
There are Redcaps.
There are?
There are Irishmen.
Yes.
The two do not get along.
Yeah. Yeah, the Whelans are a wild bunch.
Yeah. The handyman, the whole family of handyman.
Yeah. Daddy and three kids. Yeah.
Don't call him Mr. Whelan. It's Daddy.
It's Daddy. He's very angry about that. Yeah.
Call me Daddy. No, Mr. Whelan. Daddy.
Well, we can do some commentary. The moral of the story is clearly don't go to the liquor store after dark.
Got that before the credits even.
Yeah. And Jamie is, I don't know, you call him worthless here, but yeah, he's got issues. And yeah, he's
well, he
not
gets
a
up
strong,
in the beginning, and he's suffering
guy.
from PTSD after that. So he's got that as an excuse.
No, yeah.
But he puts up with way more than anybody would normally put up with.
Yeah. Well, the setup is clear, and the effects are good. And yeah, like we said, from the trailer, we were expecting something different, but it was pretty unexpected and delightful. Yeah. And the ending was nice and clear, wraps up well.
We know exactly what happened and why.
Yeah. And we both liked it more than we expected to. And I think the practical effects, really makes a big difference. They didn't CGI the creatures.
Well, I'm sure there's some CGI, but for the most part, the creatures are little people in costumes.
I think some face work was a little enhanced with CGI.
Could be.
Yeah. But they did force perspective and, things like that.
Yeah, this one just recently showed up on Shudder, and I don't think either of us had ever heard anything about it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was big in Ireland. I don't know.
Saw the preview and said, hey, we need to see that.
Yeah, it was good.
Did we see a short?
We did, called Serbian Dancing Woman from 2023. Directed and written by Alex Magana, which I believe we must be subscribed to him on YouTube, because his stuff always seems to come up.
Before, yeah.
Comes up so many times. Stars Janet Laura and Kat Ham. 2 minutes and 16 seconds.
So short.
This is maybe one of the shortest shorts we've shorted.
It was short.
What happens?
Well, a woman walks down the street, and the music playing over the loudspeaker changes to something more ominous. But it's still pretty catchy, and so catchy that she spots a woman dancing to the odd tune. And so she starts filming her, from the back because it's so cute. And then the woman turns around.
Not so cute.
Yeah.
Well, okay, the moral of this story is don't record other people without their permission. It's very well lit, especially since it all takes place in a dark alley at night.
Well, it's kind of a restaurant store district, I think.
Yeah.
Geared toward pedestrians, where it's very nice and well lit and lots of decorative plants. But everything is closed at night.
Yeah.
It's completely deserted except for these two people.
Nothing is explained, but it looks good, and the music is well done. It's actually probably maybe a little too short.
I would have liked more.
I would have liked more, yes. What
Yeah.
is this all about?
Yeah.
But we both liked it.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, and that takes us up to our next film, Becky from 2020. And this one is directed by Jonathan Millett and Carrie Murnion, written by Ruckus Sky, Lane Sky, and Nick Morris.
I love that name, Ruckus Sky.
Danger is my middle name. Well, Ruckus is my first name.
Yeah.
Hey, Ruckus. There once was a man named Ruckus who... Never mind.
No.
Stars Lulu Wilson, Kevin James, the comedian?
Yeah.
Joel McHale and Robert Malett.
And we have something to say about that.
Hour and
too.
33
Yeah.
minutes. Spoiler free, what happens?
It's an action thriller where the victim ends up being as dangerous as the villains. And speaking of villains, there's Kevin James. This was his very first time being a bad guy, and he does a mighty fine job of it. He always plays comedies, and of course he's known for stand-up and being a funny guy, and boy, he's not funny in this.
I think all those swastikas and stuff he's got tattooed all over his body are probably real, though, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
He just hides it for Paul Blart.
Yeah. Well, the gore, action, script, and cast were all top-notch. And I do have to say it was refreshing seeing a teenager playing a teenager.
She wasn't in her 20s.
She was actually a teenager. So spoilery, not so spoilery. Oh, we can spoil this one. It was 2020.
Well, there's no point in going too far with it.
Super spoil it.
I think a lot of people probably didn't see this one. I had not heard of it until we got the sequel. They're like, hey, review our sequel, Becky, The Wrath of Becky. And I'm like, okay.
And
we watched 5 minutes before we figured out it was part
yeah,
2.
Wait, this is part 2. Yeah, it wasn't obvious to us initially. So we went back and
IMDb
watched
does not
Becky.
list this as a horror film. They call it an action thriller, but definitely it's got enough violence and gore. It certainly qualifies.
And they list The Wrath of Becky as horror.
It's a little more gory.
Yeah.
It's a little more comedy, too.
Yeah, it is.
This one really isn't. I mean,
It's more serious.
black
than
humor there is in there, but it's just not what I would call in any way a comedy.
In the sequel, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
A dark comedy.
Yeah, a little bit too over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Becky, without spoiling the entire thing again, Becky recounts what happened to the police. She pretends not to remember as credits roll. We go back 2 weeks earlier, and we get parallel shots of Becky in a fight at school and a bunch of thugs in a prison fight. We then see life in prison and life in high school. It's kind of the same thing, just without the orange uniforms. Becky gets in her dad's minivan to go with him, while several of the skinhead Nazis are loaded into a prison transport. She and her father don't get along for some reason that we don't know, but meanwhile, the prisoners escape. Well, Becky and her father stop at their country home, but Kayla and Ty show up, and they're going to be staying for a while, which annoys Becky. Becky's mother has died. Did they say when? Like a year ago?
A while back.
A while,
but not
super
super
recently.
long. Yeah, she's still hurting from it.
Yeah.
There's still friction. Yeah.
And Kayla is the almost new going to be stepmom soon. They announce their engagement, and Becky is not happy about it and goes out for an angry walk.
Yeah, it's been recent enough where she feels a remarriage is too soon.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
The doorbell rings, and Kayla answers it. It's Dominic, one of the Nazis. Apec, the giant baddie, is lurking around outside and lets Kayla escape. Meanwhile, Becky sees other men in the woods. Becky watches through the window as the men shoot Ty's dog. There are 2 dogs in this movie. One makes it, one don't.
Uh-huh.
Dominic goes through a bunch of stuff in the basement looking for something, but he doesn't find it. We see that Becky has the item he's looking for out in her treehouse. Dominic tortures Becky's father until she produces the key that he wants. Becky goes and gets the key, but before she can take it to the bad guys, Dominic shoots her father.
So then she gives him the key.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
And we'll probably stop there.
It's pain. It's a painful delivery.
If you liked
And
Home
then
Alone,
she takes it right back again.
if you liked Home Alone, this is the same thing, but with an older kid.
And a lot more gore. Yeah.
All right. Well, what does that key go to? We never find out in this movie.
No, we don't.
Kevin James plays Dominic in his first villain role. He's the main Nazi guy, and he's very good at it. And they have a very well-trained dog in this. Mm-hmm. It's a bloody, gory, messy film. Maybe not so much horror as revenge thriller, but it's certainly got enough gore to qualify. We keep making excuses for having this on the show. But we definitely liked it. It's good.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. And definitely should check it out first before seeing The Wrath of Becky, I think.
I think you could watch The Wrath of Becky.
Could watch
she explains it all.
But you'll enjoy The Wrath of Becky even more, having seen them both.
I think I kind of liked the first one better.
Oh.
The second one was too over the top and silly. The second one seemed like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
She was too good.
I could see that, yeah.
The first one was a scared girl fighting back. The second one, it's like Buffy.
Well, she's had some experience now.
Yeah. The second movie just came out is The Wrath of Becky from 2023. And who did what?
Directed by Matt Angel and Suzanne Cote?
I'd say Coot.
Cote. Written by Matt Angel and Suzanne Cote and Nick Morris. Again stars Lulu Wilson, and this time Sean William Scott, Denise Burse, and Jill Larson. Becky's the only repeat character. And this one's an hour and 24 minutes, and there's a trailer on YouTube. Spoiler free. Well, as we saw in the first movie, Becky, this is a young woman who is not to be messed with, and no one messes with her dog. And this is more of the same with lots of action, heavy violence, gore, and some low-key horror. They pumped up the dark humor, like we said, and again, overall entertained. Thumbs up.
If you watch the trailer, it's all about the dog. They make it sound like a teenage John Wick. I'm coming for my dog. They've kidnapped my dog. Give her back her dog.
Well, there's a little bit of that. Yeah. Not a lot.
That's not really the way the movie plays out, but the trailers sure make it look that way.
They play it up, yeah.
Well, we open on a quiet suburban house where Ted and Alice meet Becky and her dog Diego. This is her new foster home. I guess Kayla and Ty didn't stick around after that first one.
No. Yeah.
They're a very religious couple, and Becky says just the right things to fit in. That night, as she goes to bed, she immediately climbs out the window with her dog and escapes as credits roll. After some mid-credit animated mishaps, we get quite a story there just during the credits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some time passes.
Becky eventually finds a job as a waitress in a diner, and Becky tells us with a voiceover that it's been 2 years since a group of neo-Nazis killed her family. She's 16 now, and she lives off-radar. She lives with Elena now, an old woman who hates everyone, but she picked up Becky as a hitchhiker, and they've been together for a while now. Becky imagines killing a man at the diner. She might be a psychopath now. We don't know. It's one of those, what did she do to him? He's wanting to send back his toast or something, and she puts a knife through his eye. I don't remember.
I don't remember exactly. But yeah, it was fast and violent.
Yeah, but it's not real. She just imagines it. But we see that she still has that key from the end of the first film. Well, there's a news report that the Noblemen may be coming to make an appearance at the town hall on Wednesday. Yes, the Noblemen are also a group of neo-Nazis. They're not proud. They're not boys. They're noble and they're men.
Mm-hmm.
3 of them come into the diner, and Becky spills coffee on one of them, except they follow her home.
Yeah, she didn't imagine that one. She reported on him.
Yeah, well, the guys get into her house and knock out Diego the dog. Elena comes in with a shotgun, but Anthony shoots first and kills the old woman. Then he knocks out Becky. Anthony swears DJ and Sean to silence. It's clear they're planning more than just a rally tomorrow. When Becky awakens, the old woman is dead, and her dog has been taken. She gets ready for more fighting. Commence the battle prep montage. She easily tracks down the nobleman's compound. And you know what happens from here. You've seen it in the trailers.
You get a taste of it, yeah.
It's revenge time.
Yes, it is.
Give me back my dog.
And she's got more weapons this time.
Yeah, she's much better prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, people should really learn not to mess with other people's dogs. Has no one seen John Wick? I think the producer on this one saw Buffy too many times.
Some inspiration.
She flies through the air and does the spins and the kicks and yeah, okay.
Not as super as Buffy, no. Not as bad as Buffy.
Well, she's not super strong, but she does a lot of the same moves.
Well, a little bit, yeah.
Well, it's got a lot more humor than the first one, but I think the original was more tense and realistic. This one was played more for laughs than the first film. Mm-hmm. They're both good, though. We both like them.
Yeah, very much.
All right, and that takes us to our bonus films for the week. Again, we talked about Malum. Spoiler-free. Well, okay, it's about a policewoman who spends the night in a condemned, abandoned old jailhouse, and weirdness happens.
It does, yeah.
I was kind of bored through most of it.
She's there alone, which is ironic.
It started out good,
yeah,
and it ended okay, but no, it's a long middle.
Well, it's just a little bit tedious in the middle.
Yeah.
It's things happening in the dark.
Hellraiser Bloodline, like we said, from 1996, is the fourth film in the series. We did like it, but it's not as good as the first three. There's a past, a present, and a future time period that all tie together. The timelines.
Yeah, Bruce Ramsay plays himself he plays the future character and then the present character and the past character. That they're all
because he's all in the family.
His is the bloodline.
Yeah. And it's got Doug Bradley, which is always good.
Yes.
All right, and that is our show for this week. Stop in over at horrorguys.com to read all those spoilers if you want to know exactly how all these movies go. Or if you want it in your email box, go to horrorbulletin.com and we'll send you one email a week with all 7 reviews in it. If you're not subscribed, go to horrorguyspodcast.com. Pick up our books. We didn't mention our books.
We have lots of books.
horrorguysshop.com. And if that's not enough to keep you busy, we'll have more next week.
Yeah, we will.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
See ya.
See ya.